Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Ladder Legends replay analysis. This one is going to be between John and Dat Girth, though. What a name. And this one, he says, feel like I got my drone count up here and then just died to 2 BCs and his push. So, I had to make an assumption, which we all know what assuming does, but if I had to make an assumption here, we're going to be lacking scouting when it comes to these 2 BCs, because most of the time BCs with proper scouting, they aren't that hard to deal with, but we need to know what to do. So, nice. Nice start. At least you still get a look, have fun. That's all that matters. All right, let's see. Go for a hatchery here. We're slowly putting back on gas. Worried about focusing on our mineral income as opposed to our gas income for speed, which is not a bad thing. It does make you a little susceptible to the first round of Hellions, but that's about it. With good queen movement, though, you shouldn't have to worry about that. Ultra Love is not a bad map for getting this kind of thing. Okay. All right. 3-minute third base. Not bad. Third base tends to go down to about 240, or we can. Well, let's just go off what Mr. Hino said, which is 32 supply currently. Alright, lose 1 drone, not the end of the world. We're still droning up here. We're going for a lair, as well as 6 more drones. If we're going for the moment we go for a lair, you want to at least saturate the first gas back. That way we can afford to get some sort of tech afterwards. There's also a proxy starport on the map, so this is... Okay, first and foremost, we don't see any starport or any add-on in the main. The moment we get in here and we see both of these gases, you should be a little concerned, and we should start looking around the map. It could be in his natural, but you've seen the majority of everything. The only thing you haven't seen is like this area right here, and it's very unlikely that they're back there. This is just, you're seeing 2 additional barracks, but the gas has to be going somewhere. Another thing you can do is you can click on these gas geysers, right? He has mined 400 gas off of this and 600 gas off of this, and we have no idea where it's gone, right? So we should definitely be sending out our lings to scout. The moment we see no starport as well, we can kind of assume like they're not gonna be playing without a starport, and there's no third command center. Like there's definitely enough information here to know. So what we want to do in response to this is we want to start additional queens, which we're supply blocked because we're losing that overlord, but we're already starting an additional queen here. We want to throw it on a Spire or a Hydrogen. Recommend a Spire because Spire actually shuts it down. Hydrogen is just like the band-aid to the situation. So we throw down a Hydrogen, or a Spire, start additional queens, and then we start a Spore Crawler in each base. We have 1 in the main base, we put 1 in the natural, and then we put 1 in the third as well. So we have none in the natural. So you're doing like an Oracle defense, which is fine, but with BCs it's slightly different because they have 1 base armor. Queens don't do that much damage to them, so we need either an overwhelming queen count or we need corruptors, right? Those are the two best ways. The best way to deal with the early battlecruiser count is definitely queens. So we don't want to build 8 overlords when we're supply blocked. If we just build like 3, we still want to be able to spend all of our money whenever they pop. If you notice, we don't have that much money right now. We're ahead of our opponent on workers, but it's just like 8 is a little bit overdoing it, right? It's a little bit it's like a panic, hold down the button. So what you can do is like these lings are doing nothing. Let's put them to work. Let's send 1 all the way across the map this way. Let's send the other one all the way across the map this way and figure out what we're going against. You're scouting a second time because you're confused, and you're confused for good reason. Follow your gut instinct. Scout around for something potential proxy, and if we were to be diligent with our scouting, it would bear some fruit, right? So I said in the beginning of the video that I thought it was going to be a scouting issue, and here we are. So we're throwing down the Hydrogen, which also isn't a bad thing, but we still don't know what's going on. I would love to see some additional queens still being made as well. The moment we start all this stuff, we're too low on gas for both of these. There we go. We're starting our additional gases. Your drone count's actually looking pretty good here. Want to be starting a 4th base around this time as well, or a macro hatch, because you're going to be mining so much money that we need additional hatcheries to be able to spend it all, right? That's the thing about a proper drone count. So we see the battlecruiser come in. Immediately we should start the Spire. Hydra's as a defense, but the moment we have enough gas, we want to start the Spire. We're not mining off of our natural gases, and we're getting our third gases, so we need to saturate our gases, build Hydras for defense, build additional queens, and then we throw down a Spire. Spire shuts this kind of thing down. We also saw that it was going to be a bio follow-up, so I like that we're getting the Baneling Nest. We can just play like Corruptor Ling Bane. The problem with Hydras is that they don't start with any base armor, which Corruptors start with 1 base armor, and Battlecruisers attack with a low amount of damage with a high amount of output, so that's why Corruptors tend to do better. They also do more damage versus massive, which Battlecruisers are considered massive, so that's why we would prefer Corruptors here. We can still do the Ling Bane with it, Some things to note: our 4th base is late. We didn't build any additional queens, and we never really, like, even though we rescouted a second time, we still didn't see a starport, and we never scouted around. So the difference of what we want to do here is trust our gut instinct. You were right to feel like something was off. Something was off. We're up 30 workers. There should be no reason that we lose from this position. It's all come down to scouting thus far and not knowing the proper response, right? So that's what we're here for. We do have enough queens to push this back, which is good, but since he walked it in, he can always teleport out, which is what he's going for. Build 13 more drones, which is, I don't hate it, but you're doing a good job at the whole ignore it strategy, but we want to, like, I would recommend taking this, taking this 4th base, and then we need a Spire for this. Corruptor Lingbane. We saw the barracks were coming. We have a ton of minerals. Now we're just now getting on supply block. So what you want to do past like 60, 65 supply is you want to start making 2 overlords with every round of production. If you do that, you will never be supply blocked again. I guarantee you. Every single time you hit S to make something with your larva, if you make an overlord or 2 past 60 supply, you'll stop getting supply blocked. It's a good rule of thumb to have. With Terran, it's the 2 depot SCVs. With Zerg, it's the 2 overlords per production cycle. With Protoss, it's usually a pylon whenever I think about building something. That's the best way to go about it. So we're getting our 4th and 5th base. It's kind of late, and I like how we're trying to spend our money. We have a bunch of workers, but our army supply is very much so lacking. Did we get Baneling speed? We did not get Baneling speed, or it's on the way, as well as Microbial Shroud. Infestors are also a good way to deal with bio, but we really just need the Lings and Banes, right? We need Lings with Bane speed and Corruptors, and we have all the unit counters we could possibly ever want to be dealing with this army. Kill, no cancel. Going in here, we get some really good bungles. We're also just 1Aing up a ramp into this entire army. Like, once he kills this base, what are we fighting over here? Nothing important. The tanks can't even reach here, which is our transfer between the bases. So with Zerg, you have so much money and so much economy that we just want to buy as much time as possible, right? We want to be able to eke out as many units as possible. Look at all these crucial upgrades we have finished. We have +1 55% of the way done. We have Baneling speed 40% of the way done. If we can manage to buy ourselves 50 60 more seconds and build stuff that entire time, we're gonna be able to crush this puny little Terran force, no problem, right? So that's our goal here. Instead, we're going for the fight while we have 14 more supply of Hydras and 5 more supply of Lings on the way, as well as our upgrades are getting closer and closer to finishing, right? It's like, this is not the ideal time to be taking this fight, nor the ideal location. Fighting up a ramp is never recommended. We do have vision thanks to the Overseers, but it still tends to be worse because everything comes into this choke. They're like up there, whereas the Terran is like all spread out like a little eagle. Remember, battlecruisers start with that +1 armor, so it's like, imagine how much better this fight would have gone if we had the +1 done for the Hydras. The Hydras would have actually been chucking these battlecruisers down with more ease than they currently are. We have 12 more Hydras on the way. Like, imagine if we took the fight right now, where we just waited that whole time. You would have been at 133 supply to like 109 instead of 120 to 114 or something like that. Well, half of our units are kind of walking by. But it's okay. It really just came down to scouting, right? If we scout something that seems weird, trust your gut feeling. Let's scout around. You have Lings early on. You're not being pressured. You can send the Lings all across the map, make them find everything for you. But yeah, hopefully these tips help, John. If you have any questions, feel free to PM me. We got that session on Sunday. We'll get some of these things ironed out, okay? Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, please do consider subscribing. Check out Ladder Legends for the best curated coaching content around, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace!